狼队，这也是有点底蕴在的。放中间吧。
特白熊。
老板的。
天霸的话，不用说啊，不用说啊。
不错。
SUP，
陌生。
放中间吧。
公园的好混的好大。Nice。
DK， 我觉得这个不用多说吧。
DK。
FLC。
下了这个。
PS 的话，他们打的也确实还挺好的，我觉得也可以放在这个位置。
تمسكت حطهم 16 50
مجمع
50
那对我来说稍微有复古。
DA，好像是有2个首发，由于签证问题到不了，保持原来。哎，
أبا أحطهم اثنين تحت الخير
والله لا
تمام خير
اي والله حرام فوت بثري بعد
很多以往的比赛吧，他们确实打的都很好，都枪很硬，尤其是那个 Rosemary 嘛，所以我觉得排在第2，这个肯定是没毛病的。
لا والله حرام اي سي والله مفروض هناك
بعد دي انجوي تحط اي سي
اي سي يعني مفروض على الصراحة ودي انجي توب
有没有需要小小改动吗？
那就选一个吧，主要我第一次打手，
猜拳输的先选一个，然后再猜拳输的，然后再选一个。我说不是我愿意的啊，不好意思。剪刀石，所以也是不太了解吧？对。
هاي توقعاتنا وميانا صراحة الكلمات العربية كلها كثير
希望大家都可以好好加油，我们的获得好不好？
نشوف الفاينل يا جماعة
拜拜。
拜。
За сайн байцгаана уу? Намайг Алтан гэрлээ өгтөө бүрэн баяр гэдэг. За тэгээд топ нэрээр Alpha Gaming багт тоглодог. Анх ерөнхийдөө Astra FM гэдэг багаас ерөнхийдөө мэрэгжлийн төвшин рүү одоо ингээд яг full тавьж ирсэн. South Championship гэдэг тэмцээнд ерөнхийдөө авраг аваад яг мэрэгжлийн төвшөнд ингээд тоглож болох юм байна гэдгийг ойлгосон. За хуучин Stalwart хахад манай багт IGL хийдэг байсан Pika гэдэг манай IGL байсан. Ерөнхийдөө яг Pika-гийн явснаас хойш ерөнхийдөө миний тоглолт бол амар унсан. Амар унаад тэгээ ерөнхийдөө аюул жоохон тийм шантрах маягтай байсан л. Тэгээд за Pika-гийн явсан ч гэсэн одоо надад том зорилго байгаа гэж амар тийм бэлтгэлээ ерөнхийдөө амар ахиу хийгээд тэгэл ер нь гайгүй темпэндээ орсон да. За өмнөх хэдэн жилүүдэд ерөнхийдөө одоо ингээд харахад байн ингээд ам гарч ирсэн санагддаг. Одоо заавал авраг аваа ингэн тэгэн гээл одоо бол ерөөсөө тэгж бодохгүй. Яагаад тэгэхээр бүх багууд яг ингээд скейл ур чадвар одоо бүх юмараа ингээд дэлхийн бүх багууд яг адилхан түвшинд очсон учраас ерөнхийдөө яг нэг тийм амар улаахгүй байгаа. Тэгээд яг одоо өөрсдийнхээ бэлдсэн юм гаргаад үзнэ. За ерөнхийдөө яг өдийг хүртэл явхад намайг одоо ингээд хамтдэлсэн хүмүүс байгаа. Тэгээд аав ээж эхнэр одоо тэгээд хайртай дотны хүмүүс, найз нөхөд одоо биднийг дэмжиж байгаа фэнүүд тэгээд одоо бүгдэнд нь баярлалаа. Бүгдэнд нь маш их баярлж өгдөө шүү л гэж одоо хэлээ да. Тэгээд бидэд одоо энэ тэмцээнд ерөнхийдөө чадхаараа сайн хичээгээд орноо.
Alpha Gaming showed their true power in day one. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the PUBG Mobile Global Championship, day 2 of Group Green. Today can be make it or break it for some of the squads that are trying to make it to the finals, but who can challenge those top 3 teams? APG, Inner Circle, and 9C Globe, and one team that definitely can. It's gonna be none other than Alter Ego, and I have Rosemary, Rose Carey here with me because this man has been performing quite well. What can you do to carry the momentum? You're just 1 point away from top 3.
Oke, Rosemary, bisa dibilang kamu salah satu player yang sangat bagus di Alter Ego dan sekarang kalian ada 1 poin doang beda sama 3 besar. Apa yang bakal kamu ngelakuin buat memaintain performa kamu sekarang supaya kamu bisa melayakkan diri ke grand final?
Mungkin dengan bangkitin mental anak-anak dan bangkitin mental sendiri biar kita juga mendapatkan hasil yang maksimal lah, dan ya ngelakuin yang terbaik aja sih tanpa ngelakuin kesalahan sedikit pun.
Yeah, of course, we gonna maintain our mentality first in order to qualify to the grand final, and then other than that we just gonna perform like usual, and then we just try to minimize all the mistake that we will do in the game. That's all.
If you had to pick one mistake that you're definitely looking to improve, what would that mistake be?
Oke, kalau bisa dipilih satu kesalahan yang kamu mau diimprove lah.
which is horrendous, by the way, considering Tiamba was on the cards for a strong central position. Rondo can be quite cruel at times. Okay, it's to be sure. Icon, though, looking to be an icon in this game. Takes down 2 from Reject, and Divine just has to send away. The only thing holy here are the rest of his players layered with bullets.
Oh, that is really unfortunate. A little stumble on one of the walls there. I think 2 of them got caught up in the traffic jam for Reject. That's going to cause them to lose 2. There is still a recall beacon that they could access. I think Divine is beelining for it right now, but might meet Tiamba, who is sending in that same direction. So potential for both of those 2 teams to have a little bit of a nightmare here, or maybe they'll just take it in turns, play friendly.
Eco getting shot out by 9ZG, who've been doing fairly well, but right now down towards Tinlong Gardens, a bit of a journey for them to get past Papa Supermassive. I think the blue likely will envelop both of them entirely before this fight concludes. With Kamikaze playing here, this is the awkward position for 9ZG to deal with. Tiamba actually gets the recall off. They wrapped all the way down towards the southeast side. Okay. It works.
It was one player from Tiamba going for that recall, and Divine as well. Tiamba got there first, so now Divine may be locked out of it with the blue zone pushing in. You can still recall though, even if you're in the blue zone. Let's hop on with Reyes though, as he spots Kamikaze, but Kamikaze is just too quick on it. Does manage to dodge out the way, steps out for more. He wants to trade, he wants to keep it going. Has their UG, and there's no bullets left to face him. Goodness me. Kamikaze is on an absolute tear for Papa Supermassive. He keeps stepping up. Divine desperately wants this recall, but Tiamba don't want to give it to him. They are still locked in a 1v1. As Aking can't quite find the way out here. He went in, got his teammates back up, but maybe he is the price they will pay. With the auto shotty around the side, he has the disadvantage, and Divine keeps them in. Reject now. Look for the recall.
But the Tiamba just abandoned the poor fella. And why are they coming back in?
No.
Maybe to get the recall off again? I'm not sure, but this feels wrong. Oh, he's actually getting his team in. He actually pulled it off.
No way. Divine able to get his team back. They will be out and into the skies. Reject, though, will be playing on his 3. And they're going to recall themselves as well. Do they camp this out? Do they wait for the teams above? Because they're not going to get another recall here. I think Reject just have to play as 3.
Yeah, of course they're going to play as 3. I mean, that's insane. I mean, just smoking and getting it done. I guess that's why the rest of Tiamba is just sending there so quickly. They don't want the recall to go through. But regardless, Divine commits. Divine commits. And this time that is quite holy, you know? He sacrificed himself for the rest of the squad. What a martyr.
Brilliant stuff coming through. Well, that's, well, actually, not so brilliant. Very messy. And Tiamba making interesting decisions there. Reject playing on a 3. They lose 1 more as well, so they are now back down to the 2 that got picked back up. Loops. Scrapping with Team Secret, by the way. This is over towards Jadina City. On the outskirts here. They've yet to cross the water.
It's taken a while. Definitely it's taken a while. Team Secret and Loops both struggling. Falcons finally make their way down. I don't mind this position over on the northeast side as well. Does cut off the western position in terms of those sight lines, but looks like they're just going to send it over towards OG. OG is looking to face off against them. But with that circle, I think at this point in time, you more than likely to head down towards the beach, try and wrap around, play something in there. Gen G, though, has a fantastic spot, and Wolves can take advantage of this position as well. Maybe across the road, pick up that compound. I think that's the smart decision to go for. Let's keep those lessons from yesterday. When it looks free, it's probably free.
Spending a lot of time out here, picking through the box, and I hope he's not got his UI covered up, because there is still a Loops player in the wings with 1 first aid, and he is out now. We'll hear these footsteps waiting for the cross, and immediately he's going to take him down. You can't get the res here. There's no way that Team Secret make it out of this one. How many more points can Loops claim as he finds another? Looks to try and take down Secret. Zerus will put him down, but they stayed there too long. They weren't aware of their surroundings. Meanwhile, Tiamba, they've moved up, so have Reject over towards the Wolves.
Okay, I mean, Tiamba was able to get in. They took a knock and a flush at the start there. QCC makes a fair move in, get some more damage done for themselves. An immediate flush over towards the left-hand side. And this should be easy for Wolves. I say that as QZZ starts to go a little bit crazy.
Oh, it's getting a bit wild here. Still, not much HP to play with. Not much ammo left either. He is going to get taken down by Doran, but the damage is done to the Wolves. Oh, this is going to be nasty. This is going to be tricky here, Blank, for the Wolves now. More damage done to them than is remaining.
Okay, D+ since yesterday with Chips taking down 2 of the players from OG. They thought themselves, well, maybe we can do it again here. Already 2 players down for OG. 1 player left alive in AKOP, and it's a lovely nade. Pin around the side of the vehicle, pops the vehicle, and pops OG.
That is what you want. Well, not what you want to see if you're an OG fan, but for D+ fans, they'll be happy with it. 4 players alive. They're playing on the north side, though, and they are a little bit squeaked out on that edge. Not too easy of an approach to the rest of the circle. As we hop on back with APG in a similar location as well, though. GS scrapping with them on the hilltops, and Esso able to find Ziol, get the flush, but just about able to find it before the flush, the re-knock comes through. D3S from the high ground now finds a second player on APG, and another goes down as well. APG really suffering now on the north flank.
APG has been surrounded by teams quite a bit here. I think they've tried to carve themselves out a little bit of room, but here on Rondo, it's quite difficult to carve out areas of the map just because there's constant recalling happening. And that's the difficulty, right? Is that as much effort you put in, you're always going to be fighting even towards those later zones. This is why having compounds, having strong position on the map is so important, because it's less about, you know, playing for position. It's more about getting a breather in these games, you know, taking a moment to be like, right, we don't want to fight for 5 minutes, so let's just conserve ammo, conserve utility, conserve players.
The game now with no recalls left available. Krypton for Alter Ego. They're playing as 3. Peppered. Gen G hoping that the circle goes to the middle. Alter Ego have to back it off. Krypton stayed a little bit, well, actually probably moved just about in time. A hard south shift gives Reject maybe an outside chance here, but you imagine the Wolves are going to be pushing across. You think that teams on the east side, maybe GS, transition down to crash onto this area and see what they can find. These buildings, pretty hot real estate right now.
Apollo finding Xeris. It's taking them down. Reject now with 2 points on the game. Not amazing, but they're getting something done here. For Gen G, if they win this game, it will be the back-to-back, the technical back-to-back from yesterday, finishing out last. Miramar with a win, and starting today on Rondo with a win would be fantastic for their point scoring. Currently would be fantastic for their point scoring. Currently in 7th place after that chicken dinner from yesterday.
Just me. A lot of big Elim games as Doc takes a nade, bounces off the back tire and up to the side window there. Blasts him through with a shrapnel. And there's the flush coming through as well. Goat on 5 Elims. And DS now looking to move into the last player of Falcons. Koa can't stand up to it. And D+ keep themselves as 4. They're not in this zone. And they get lined up towards a lot of damage being sent out their way. As Top readjusts as well for APG. He's just in this next circle.
It's much better from D+. I think that they threw themselves into the deep end a little bit yesterday. Just started taking fights. I know some of those fights honestly weren't going very well, but I'm glad they were just like, we sort of need to get into the mentality that we're big dogs, all right? Because at the moment they were playing so weak, they were playing so scared, and now they're just rapping a lot. And yes, some of these fights are messy, but there's definitely more confidence here when it comes to taking those engagements. And I think that whatever has happened behind the scenes there, whether that's a call made by a coach or a call made by one of the players in the team, is we just need to start giving our all here and just start taking fights. It's been the right call, because I think all those players are really good in their own rights. We've seen them play at high levels in the past when it comes to fragging power. I think here it's a case of, you know, shaking off the years like dust as you come into the big international.
Absolutely necessary for defending champion team, at least D+ to put the best foot forwards. Hopefully try and change that around. Teams are starting now to move in towards these buildings. You can see Wolves still holding out on the east side of that compound, but Goat is the team that's looking to try and breach on towards it. They're not having the best of time though. D+ with Alter Ego at the back. Hosel has a nade bobbling down towards him, and he doesn't quite spot it. Another nade over the top, finds Snape, and there is a little bit of an answer. The cover flare nearly lands on Alva's head, so he does need to be careful if they tumble down. Roll in the D4s, Blank. Hopefully they're going to be more 4 than 1 as they just nearly take Alva down with them. Goodness me.
Dude, if I'm Alpha, I am terrified. I think he was even considering holding the angle or not. He backed up, but these are some great nades. Pop Snape once again. Another one over the top there, getting very close. Decent air burst. I think they will just leave their 4th player to go down there, but the blue starts to push in, and D+ kind of do have Alter Ego's number here. Waiting for a big nade towards the back, and there it is, leaving now D+ with just the 1 player. That nade has to be efficient. It's all down to Nolbu.
Needs to get these reses. It's not going to be easy. There's off angles to deal with as well. APG actually taking shots. Top's going to have to move, but he's busy. He's taken down the South Koreans in the meantime. They are confirmed. Oh, another nade. Oh, that's nasty. It's going to do so much damage. And I think Nolbu, yeah, he's just going to give up the ghost because the vehicle's going up in smoke now as Krypton just keeps on layering down these nades. Papa Supermassive not getting stuck into Alter Ego just yet, but they'll crest the ridgeline. They know it's just Nolbu left standing. They break one down low. He'll go for the challenge, force them up high. They're playing off one another. Still in action and will be able to help suppress the angle, but it will be Alter Ego to get all of those Elim points tucked away. It's going to be D+ down. 8 Elims found. A lot of heavy Elim teams are already out of this one, Blank. Maybe we'll see one of our lower Rondo Elim chicken dinners here.
I ain't gonna lie, I think the most dangerous thing there for D+ was not Alter Ego, but instead the vehicles around them, which they did not respect and just let explode in their faces. In the meantime, though, it is Alter Ego to try and send away, but some great shots there coming through from Gen.G, who are, like we say, looking to put the back-to-back on the cards. GS move into Reject's position off of the distance there. Just in between, playing Piggy in the middle between Apollo as well as Sarah. But what a fantastic moment from Divine earlier to get this far into the game for the rest of the squad.
Certainly is. Checks, I mean, they're very happy to be able to survive this one out as long as they can. Sit in those buildings, see if they can defend it. Gen.G likely going to have to cross the road. Doran keeping things going. Moment, I mean, Gen.G, a big win for them here. Would speed them up probably towards the top 3, Blank, which would be a real nice find for them. Starting on 40 points, getting a 20-point chicken dinner total. That's very, very doable, and they're the only full 14. I'm thinking that we might see Gen.G up in that top 3 spot. We'll have to wait though, because plenty of teams will try and extract a toll on them as they make their approach. They're flanking out wide. They've put that 2-2 out, but they're going to have to regroup it.
Yeah, the only thing that concerned me yesterday from Gen.G's win is like watching those final moments with the UMP shots. I felt like the sprays were a little bit concerning in terms of capability versus some other squads. So it's just that firepower that concerns me for Gen.G. I will say in terms of rotations, like they've looked pretty good so far. I just will say that their firepower somewhat lacks versus some of these other teams. In this particular circle, though, I don't think there's really anyone else that challenges them out massively. I do think that they play their cards right. You know, it doesn't matter the gun skill at all. As long as they set up the angles, they refrag one another, it should be a Gen.G win.
Ooh, well, that shift, though, does make that a little bit harder. That Gen.G win maybe a little bit further out. But, as you said, the numbers, I mean, it's just such a big advantage to be playing with all of this leeway. Sarah, though, it feels like he's got Claws on lockdown at this point. I think Claws knows about it. Oh, Sarah's not taking the peek out this way, not just yet. He'll know that Claws is peeking up, and that's a brilliant pickup for Claws. What a shot. Excellent reactions coming through for Gen.G. And he steps into the garage. He's tucked away the vehicle. This should pretty much confirm it.
It proved me wrong, I guess. But I'm okay to see it. I'm all okay with him proven wrong. Good to see the improvement there from Gen G. Apollo all on his lonesome upstairs, and feels like Divine Sacrifice was all for naught. Apollo looking for the heal, and now up against 4 players. Like I said, the refrag is there. It's easy peasy. Reject go down in 6th place. I don't think Sarah should have peaked that. I don't think it was necessary to peak that.
Yeah, you wait
It
for
really
Gen G
did just
to move,
leave
right?
Apollo, yeah, high and dry, and now Gen G has the high ground position in the center of the circle. So there's some, and I would say it's probably quite categorically bad maneuvers happening from Reject during this tournament.
Yeah, well, I mean, there must be a reason they're in 15th place right now, right? It's not been a great run for them, which is a bit disappointing, but someone's got to be 15th, someone's got to be 16th. Trombi, the last to stand for Papara Supermassive, they go down in 5th place. With their 8 elims, though, they'll make quite a decent impact on this game. But Blank, a lot of teams have had in that 5 to 9 elim boundary, which is quite interesting. It would be one of the more spread out Rondo points earning systems that we've seen, I think, since its release into the PUBG Mobile ecosystem.
Yeah, it's been a really slow game. And I think that's mainly because there's just so much fighting all around the map, which led to one team getting 5 or 6 points, then they would get taken out, and then another team would get those 5 and 6 points, then they would get taken out. In the meantime, though, here's Gen G. Dammy finds Snape to start things off, but it's Doran to find Satan. Claws immediately goes for the smoke, but Doran will finish him off. So that's 12 elims right now for Gen G. The Wolves aren't giving up too easily.
Gen G spot that cross, Claws with the nade, looking for Igor. Doran on the back line. Dropping the smokes here. Nice little cover off. You can see that he's protecting against teams eking across the side of going a little bit further out. Dammy, though, has that high ground plateau and may be able to just see something just about over the top. GS with their last player as well, hiding in a corner, very, very central. Could last out quite a while. Igor with a nade, actually able to find one of Gen G as Doran looks to get across as well. The regroup is there. Quick isn't going to be able to get through, and the flush is there. So now we're 2 versus 3 with D3S as the outside wild card.
For Gen G, let's be quite honest here. A 3-man split at this point in the game is diabolically bad. I don't know why we're going with a 3-man split here. Yes, you want to cover all the buildings, but you're almost certain that this is just straggler teams. And already they showed us that they can play a 4-man refrag position over towards Apollo and Sarah, and they just need to clear out this building. So this is just like, I'm not sure what the plan was, but it's opened things up for Wolves. Both those eliminations, they don't happen for Wolves unless Gen G opens the door for them. And Gen G left that thing completely unlocked and ajar. So if Wolves is able to win this game, it's completely on Gen G.
I think GS win this game. Just saying.
Okay.
I feel like these two teams are going to scrap it out. They're going to forget that there's another player. Or not forget, but be more preoccupied. And I think D3S has this. For no other reason than for the vibes. I think it's entirely unlikely, but I did like saying it. And the zone's closing. Fairly central. It's on top of Wolves. That gives them the advantage.
Yeah, well, I mean, GS is just hiding out right now.
Nice camping.
Yeah, I guess so. You could say that. I mean, GS has struggled a little bit, but, you know, you try and get some points where you can, don't you, really? But it's not going to get them top 3. It ain't going to get you top 3. It might not even keep you at bottom 5.
Well, any point's a good point. At any stage, you take the points you can get. We'll see what he can go for. I don't think Quick is aware of the player on the ground floor. I mean, maybe he is. He's playing on the corner that sort of counters it. But D3S has not made a move in a long while. The blue zone will force it as the flares start to drop thick and fast down the main road. That's going to make it a little bit more navigable in these close-range fights. These smokes are starting to dry out, but Quick has managed to get across here, Blank. The question is, how safe is it? They have regrouped fully on it. They've let D3S actually stay alive alone in that corner.
Are these the fabled wolves walls? And went through with the emergency cover. The wolves Doritos, Dora in the Dorito thrower. As he goes, attempts to go upwards. Nice damage there from Gen G on Dami, but he goes actually just gonna push it up. That's very aggressive.
Oh, but he finds the first. No, sorry, hang on a minute. We're on with Dami. Yeah, he's immediately lining that up. D3S is chiming in, though, now. If he can find one of Gen G, it's a 1v1v1. Nade in hand, maybe closer to the middle. No, needs to step a little bit further forwards. Doran is low.
Oh, you're evil.
Can't peek out because Dez is there. And he's cooking the nade. Quick push back, and he launches it forwards. Dami goes low, and now it's a 1 versus 2. Dez now with a chance for GS. Will he be able to find it? Gen G desperately wanted to close it down, but the healing needs to come through from Dami. He drops the Molotov. Oh, that's a huge Molotov. Forces them to play all on the outside, but they just about keep it under control. I thought I was going to be right. I thought I was going to be there. But Gen G get a big chicken dinner. That will catapult them up the tables. They're looking for the top 3 on the end of that match, and the technical back-to-back is true.
Again, slightly, there's some things about this team that are concerning for me, though. I think that is my main issue right now, is I have concerns. And again, I do like this team. I like what they're trying to achieve. I think for a team that feels more like an underdog right now, they're doing very, very well. But there are just some moments where I'm like, that feels very wrong. And I think in a full 4v4 there, Gen G does not get away with that type of behavior. But yeah, I think for Gen G, it must be very pleasing. And that buffer, though, might be enough if they can continue to improve their performance, get them into the top 3 and keep it up. Again, a few of these players have been around for a very, very long time. I think Dami, for him, this is a dream come true on the big stage.
Absolutely. It's brilliant that they're able to take things forwards, keep things going. Under the Gen G banner, I'll be very happy to be able to pose for a second photo. You can see they're practiced at it now, and they are going to be able to take that one. Get back to business. Let's get back to business with the Desto and see what they had to say.
Max power, I'm about to go, we're doing better. If I ever lose, setting on faster than ever. If I ever lose, setting on, we're doing better. Even roller coaster can bigger, bolder, faster. Ooh, I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum.
And Gen G win the last match of the day yesterday and the first match today, and they did it in style, Max, man. This Wolves push, though, I don't know what these guys were thinking here at the end.
He got went a bit too crazy mode there, okay? He went sicko mode, and unfortunately, didn't quite work out for him. I'm not sure what the decision, what the reasoning behind that decision actually was, but you know what? He gave it a fair shot, and it didn't quite work out. They lost a lot of players for very unnecessary reasons this match, but you know what? Gen G, a very slow game here, Niptura, very steady. They had a 2-2 split, fully regrouped on the northern side, then go back into this compound. Do split a little bit too much. I fully agree with John and Blank what they were saying this game. They definitely did kind of split their forces at some point that did risk that win, but you know what, Gen G? It's a back-to-back win. This is the year of Mina for PMGC.
Yeah, and with as many elims as they got, I don't think they really care that much, right? Dami with 1,000 damage, and what is that? Hang on, quick math here. 11 eliminations off the top of that win as well, so a big point game for them.
Huge game for Gen G. And honestly, this is one of the teams that we highlighted at the top of the show because, you know, they won the last match of Miramar yesterday, and we were like, okay, which teams in that mid-pack do we think could really push into that top 3, right? I was like, Gen G looked good there towards the end, and then bam, they come out swinging in this rondo. What was that? Yeah, 11 eliminations? No, yeah, that's way more. Yeah, we got a whole bunch here. Yeah, you got Dami here with 5.
Analyst math. Analyst math.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what's going on here? No, these guys went crazy here in this one. And another team that went crazy off the rip, we heard an interview with 7, was the Falcons, right? I mean, look at this crazy hot drop here, Max.
I don't know what to say about this. This was bad and good for Falcons. It's like they got 7 eliminations and a hot drop, so definitely can't fault them for trying to get as many eliminations as they possibly could in the early stages, but Inner Circle not getting anything. And actually, Nipchura, we were having a back and forth about this. They sent every single player into Neox, and they didn't have a recall backup, meaning that if they lose that fight, they're fully eliminated, and here, 0 points. They were donezo from the get-go.
I hate that so much because Inner Circle are an elim-heavy team. They thrive off of getting those eliminations, and to just go full send all 4 into a hot drop when you have that recall ability on a map that is going to give you the most possibility of eliminations of any of the maps is an insane idea to me. I don't know what they were thinking. I'm going to be kind of harsh here. I have no idea what they were thinking.
Oh, this recall, though, that was so clutch from Divine. There's no way down to the last second. He gets it and revives his teammates and actually get pretty far, right? Apollo and Sarah get really deep into this match, get a few extra placement points, maybe eliminations too, I believe. So that was literally the best recall so far of 2025, Hot Jukes. That was such a good and intense play. Tiamba almost able to punish it, but it was not quite meant to be, and he does pull it off at the end.
Dude, 100%. I was so hyped when I saw it. He threw the smoke down. I was like, just go for it. Why not, right? If you're able to get 3 players up rather than attempting that 1v3, that is the ticket right there. And honestly, that could be the play, right? That literally makes this team survive, guys. Because I guarantee you, like, if Team Reject doesn't pick things up, they're going to be right there, you know, just trying to get past that bottom 5. And especially when you got teams putting up as many points here in this game. Look how top heavy these points are, Niptura.
Yeah, I mean, it's so top heavy that even rejects who are in the top 5 aren't on that first page of match rankings. That is insane, right? There's just so many points being grabbed here by so many teams across the map coming in here, and 25 points for Gen G is crazy. I mean, with how close those leaderboards are, I need to see the overall rankings like now.
Like yesterday, show it to me.
Like
90 Globin only going to get 3 points this match. So again, they keep on slipping after their 2 first good games of yesterday. We haven't seen too much presence from these guys here. Looking at Dami, the MVP of this match. 5 eliminations popping off. But actually, we're talking about Dami, of course, doing a lot in their transition back into the compound to claim that position to make sure they secure this win. Claws, Niptura. Car 98, I know you were getting hyper about that one. That man with the long-range sniper was popping off.
He really was, and Gen G in general are popping off. Second place they jump into. Second place! I mean, it's only 3 points ahead of Inner Circle, right? So if Inner Circle hadn't gone out so early, we probably would see it kind of flipped. IC would probably still be on second place. But Gen G coming off the back of a big Rondo, and that's just the importance of Rondo, right? Yeah. It's like you can go from 10th place to second just like that.
I mean, actually, John is telling us, if you include the 2 last chicken dinners, because this is a back-to-back win, right? We just got from Gen G.
That's right.
Before the last Miramar of yesterday, they were in 11th position. 2 back-to-back wins, they're up in second place. Maybe trying to play catch-up with APG and able to overtake Inner Circle. Thank you very much, Mr. John, here with the numbers. But what a performance here. But now the question is, right? Gen G, after a performance like that, Hot Jukes, can they hold down the fort? Can they remain in top 3 for the entirety of Group Green?
I mean, we had the question for Inner Circle, right? They couldn't do it in 1 game. That's how crazy it is, right? I was like, oh, they got a little point sponge. As long as they do okay, they should hold on at least for a little while. But just like that, boom, Gen G overtakes them. And so that jump, you know, that we were talking about from 11th to second place, it's still possible. There's plenty of games left to go, so a lot of different squads can accomplish that, right? But getting back-to-back chicken dinners in a lobby like this going to be pretty tough, Max, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, of course. I mean, the lobby has leveled up significantly. I can already see in the first game here, Niptura. Teams are maybe a little bit more sweaty. Just saying. It's like, whoa, well, we're seeing some rotations that are looking pretty good for some teams. Some teams holding off, desk camping a little bit. We can say it. We can say the C word. You know, the camping a little bit at the end of this game. He's able to get himself some extra placement points, snatch away a second place. Always really happy to see that come through. I was really happy in particular with GS, right? Trying to hold off Reject on that wide rotation of Jadina. They knew that was going to be potentially a weakness of theirs, and they just set up the bridge camp in Jadina City itself. I respect plays like that. So GS maybe initiating a bit of an ascent in the leaderboards.
Yeah, sneak attack 1000. I also have to shout out D plus a little bit there. DS and DK and AE going back to back over on that hillside, right? Those cover flares just throw an extra bit of chaos into the mix as well. But those nades were on point on both sides. It was really tit for tat there for a little bit. So I'd like to see more of that coming into a wrangle because both of them were really fighting, and we know D plus Kia had a rough day one, but even though they weren't able to really convert it to points, I liked what I saw from them in this rondo.
I'm even thinking back at this entire game, guys. We had an EMP zone that actually did something.
Yes.
It was dead center, and it just Tiamba would mid-rotate. Guys, don't worry, it's just an EMP zone. And then the cars just stopped working. It was like, oh, damn it. They forced to actually go for the recall play and bring back some of their teammates as they were stuck there with, I believe it was GOAT team.
That's right.
So EMP zones, if they're dead center of a phase 3, phase 4 situation, Hodrix, that can really cause some issues on your rotations. And in this case, it was so damn impactful on that team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tiamba were on the move. They didn't even want to be there, right? Boom, dead center EMP, and they were just stuck. So, I mean, that was by far the most brutal EMP we saw. We saw the most crazy revive recall tower, right? And then we also saw the most amazing cover flares from Alter Ego, right? What do you think about those cover flares, right? Hey, those cover flares are tetrahedrons, right? They're not spheres. Last time I checked.
Yes.
Max.
You're asking me a math geometry question.
They're triangles, not circles, right?
They're pyramids, actually.
They were rolling down the hill like crazy. It was wild.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit careful about that one. I wish they put them actually on top of the heel itself. That way they could have peaked a bit better. But regardless, Krypton, Niptro, we saw in that fight, his nades, I don't know how he did it. His Spidey sense were tingling in that position, but he just knew exactly where the D plus Kia players were. And they were just, he got a massive double nade to open up that fight eventually. So really happy with Krypton. He's really stepping up to the plate just like he did during PMWC.
Yeah, I really loved as well what we saw there from another one of the AE players. Can't remember who it was, but in the buggy, as soon as that knock happened, he was on that buggy around the side trying to get some info. So great play.
Well, let's take it on over to the 7WG for a big interview and hear what these players have to say.
Welcome back to a quick report with the 7WG. I'm joined by none other than Gen.G Satan, a team that's currently jumped up to second place with the performance they're currently putting out. But I want to go back to yesterday. You started off slow in a way. Was it due to the fact that you had 2 new players in the squad?
عشان شوي عندكم مشاكل لأنه عندكم فريق لاعبين جديدين لو لا؟
أكيد صراحة يعني إحنا ما لعبنا مع كويك وكلاوس حتى ولا سكرم واحد، فإنك تقدم بطولة عالمية PMGC بظروف كانت جدا قاهرة للفريق، يعني يوسف وأجين كان ودي انهم يكونوا موجودين اكيد، ولكن لعلها خيرة من رب العالمين بان يعني دخلوا معانا كلاوس وكويك. صراحة جدا معجب فيهم، اساطير والله.
He said that, you know, it's tough. We didn't even have a single scrim with Klaus and Quick because they are standing in. He wishes that he had his team Yusuf with him, but they came in, they're doing really well, and God willing that they'll be able to go all the way with them.
Well, I mean, you've been able to jump up to second place. You got them back-to-back wins if we count the last day for yesterday. With 10 or more eliminations, what has been the biggest change for the squad?
عندك 2 تشيكن دينر وكل بيها 10 قتلى 10 بوينتس واكثر. شو التغير صار؟
دائما اذا جبنا تشيكن باخر يوم معروف جنجي، اذا جابوا تشيكن باخر يوم باليوم الاول، اليوم الثاني يدخلوا بفورمه قويه. وبصراحه تغير يعني اشياء. الكوتش نايت يعني ثانك يو كوتش، صراحه قاعد يشتغل معانا بشكل كثير اسطوري، قاعد نشتغل كمجموعه يعني بشكل حلو.
He said that Gen.G is well known. If we end the day with a chicken dinner, we're going to come day 2 very strong. And he also wants to, you know, the whole team is doing well, but he wants to shout out to Knight. He's been helping them out a lot when they go back.
He is one of the most experienced coaches. His 5th PMGC, if I'm not mistaken. Congratulations, Satan. I like seeing this man smile. And they're also trying to continue to shock the world because Mina has been performing so well at PMGC. Back to you guys.
Mina is crushing it. Are you kidding me? I mean, look at that. I mean, I guess these are the scrims for Gen.G? I mean, who needs them, Max?
No need for scrim. The PMGC is the scrims for Mina right now. R8, they scrim. R8 were just scrimming for the finals. That was it. That's all they were doing. And Gen.G going to do the same. Like, yeah, it's crazy that they're that successful, actually, right, Niptra, knowing that, of course, they have 2 newer additions. And despite that, they're looking really good. Their synergy was on point. Sure, they played a little bit split this previous game at the ending in that compound, but man, Gen.G impressing me a lot after what they did in Mina.
Yeah, and that quick flick by Quick over for the last Elim, right, to win the match is really, really impressed me as well. So definitely some big skill coming in here. I'm just so surprised that they didn't even scrim with him. Like that level of synergy with hardly playing with your two new players is unheard of. So really, really great stuff at PMGC of all places.
That's how you get it done, guys. You know, you got to be able to perform when the time comes here. You got to be able to settle those nerves and hit those shots. We got the first match of Erangel coming up right here, right now. Match number 2. Let's take it on over to John and Blake.
Absolutely banging to get into this Erangel. We are gonna be absolutely on for a treat, I'm sure. From the northwest side of the map, as we head on over Zaki, nobody dropping out yet because the plane path hasn't opened its doors over towards Milta Power. Blank. It was a pretty messy close down, I think, to say the least, over that last match. But Gen G are getting straight back into it. They're out the plane path almost immediately.
I think the guys on the desk are right. Is that Mina has been doing very, very well, right? I think it maybe I'm slightly harsh on Gen G. I think they've been doing fairly well. There is just some worrying moments for me is all. I do want the team to succeed. It's just a case where I look at some of those plays and I'm like, that's gonna lose you a final position if that continues over the rest of today and into day 3. It's just some of the things that I want to see shored up. Not to say, because like I think also Hodju said it quite well, is that Ego's push from Wolves, that was also pretty silly in those moments. I think that whole end game, like you say, John, was fairly messy. But we'll see what Gen G can get done. So far it's been pretty successful. I think their biggest strength right now is getting towards that late game as a 4-man. They are very, very good at navigating some of these rotations, some of these circles. I think it's some of that decision making towards the end game that could be doing with shored up. And it's odd for me to say because they're coming off 2 chicken dinners. I want teams to succeed, so I try and figure out where the problems are. That's what I'm doing.
Well, that's hey, it's kind of what you're paid for a little bit. Doc, though, hoping to get paid for the bounty on Bond's head as he goes for the Serpentine, but ends up sticking it into a barrel. Not ideal, as Bond now able to get into a building, and that's going to be APG diverting. You don't want to stick around too long. You don't want to waste too much time, especially when you don't have a weapon. And inside that building, you know there's going to be one found. So get out of there for APG. They'll be moving on, trying to stay safe. You can hear those bullets already pinging off the back tire.
I will say it was pretty bold of Bond to try and knife Doc whilst he was in the vehicle. I don't know if he caught that, but as he swung past him on the side, he actually tried to go for the slice onto Doc in the front seat. I mean, you get what you got to get done there. I mean, any little damage helps. Let's see, we go over towards Lipovka. Quite a empty circle to start things off here. D+ just towards the south side of Rozhok. And for D+, some of those rotations have been a little awkward at times, but again, they are fixing mistakes. They are improving, but they need to get way more points now towards the end of the day to try and see themselves in towards the top 3. Main point of contention right now is just not to be down towards the bottom of the tables. That bottom 5 will be going out right now. It is OG, Falcons, GS, Reject, as well as Team Secret, who are in danger at the moment. And with, to be honest with you, for OG, right, a lot of the rotations are pretty slick, right? And I definitely wouldn't hesitate to say again, this is probably some of the best rotations we've seen from India as a region in a long while. Their issue just lies in firepower. That's it. That's really it. I think, honestly, in terms of international performance, rotation-wise, getting into a strong position, OG's great at it. Really good. It's that confidence game in the 4v4s where they're kind of lacking on right now. I think most people have said it quite clearly online, which is a case of that 4v4 firepower is the thing holding them back. But what I don't see a lot of, if people's praising them for the smart gameplay and strong rotations coming out from the squad, which is a little frustrating for me, honestly, because I do think that there's now like a lot of hope being put on True Rippers over in Group Red. And the idea is that their firepower is going to be the thing that carries them through. But yeah, I think it is undeniable that OG right now have some of the best rotations. In fact, the best rotations coming out of India in almost forever.
I mean, yeah, it seems like it's much more mature than obviously the earlier days of within the PUBG Mobile scene when India had their sort of region there. But certainly since their reintroduction to the PMGC ecosystem, the PMWC ecosystem as well, it's looking a lot better. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to find too much success in this group so far, but there is still more games to play, and hopefully those rotations can be brought to bear for them.
On the other hand, I mean, your Falcons underneath them, you know, are a star-studded squad, and right now they don't look like that. You know, the stars are missing. It is a completely empty sky for the Falcons. And although you'd think that that would mean they could fly clear and free, not the case. Something's stifling them at the moment. Ralph said it was some of those initial rotates which they are struggling on. And already they had a much better performance over on Rondo in terms of early game, but they need some more of that late game presence.
That is definitely going to be needed. I mean, those later games are really where you start to pick up a lot of points. As we said before, right, at the early stages, you could survive 15 minutes. That's not a guarantee of any points at all. You could survive 20 minutes. The same thing is true. It's when you start to get in towards those next few minutes that really start to matter, and having that power into the late game, that huge points earnings potentials start to appear for our teams. Which is why average survival time, I mean, it's an interesting statistic, but it can sometimes be a bit misleading. You think, oh, that's only a minute difference, right? That's basically the same. When you're talking about end games, that is a huge amount of points difference that is earned. And you could almost take off the first 20 minutes of that average and then do that sort of comparison. And you get a better picture of just how strong a team is at moving into that late game.
Yeah, I think I looked at it before, and I think the difference between like 21-minute average survival time and a 23-minute average survival time is something like 40 points almost. It's kind of crazy, actually, the amount of points gain you get off 2 minutes additional over any one squad. But it is specifically over the 20-minute mark where things start to change a lot. But so far, some of our teams are definitely getting towards that 20-minute mark, but just not quite beyond into the 23, 24 position. At that point, even if you do get that far, you go out in, say, 8th, 7th, it's only one placement point, or not even one placement point. You drop out in 8th. So it's definitely difficult. Definitely difficult. APG making their stop off. Wolves no longer really playing around this position anymore. They used to keep a scout out down towards the south side in Baton. But honestly, Baton was getting battered quite frequently by APG as they would just send direct into that gas station. And I think this is the right choice from the Wolves, which is just to play as a 4-man up towards that north side and just give up playing down towards the south from now on. It makes a lot more sense.
They have obviously moved up there. You can see leaving Baton still as an outpost, but over towards Sunken this time as the circle goes over to the Yaz Fields. We haven't really had too many keep those Yaz Fields in. That position that OG hold right now, a little bit of a command spot over the Yaz Fields. Leaving it to the south may be a bit tricky. Maybe they want to keep more presence across some other areas. They don't want to regroup fully onto it. Leaving it entirely, I'm not sure. That would allow a team like Team Secret, beg your pardon, allow a team like Team Secret to fly on in past that Yaz bridge, leaving down from the north side and get a very valuable spot. So I think they want to keep that one under control.
Yeah, it's a very difficult circle, this one. With the Yaz Lake on the north side, Yaz Fields as well. You have a lot of space that is sort of unavailable to play, and for most teams they're not even thinking about playing over towards the northwest side of this circle either. So you're cramming a lot of teams into a very small area. I think this is one of the maps where, you know, stage 3, you're probably going to see 3 or 4 teams go down there.
Looks like Wolves have found the east point of Rosok. They have condensed onto it under the purview of loops, but they do have to potentially march a little bit further east. Good access out to the east rotate paths, though, for Wolves, and maybe actually cutting loops off a little bit, with the Falcons a little bit further out as well. Loops have fewer options than they once did. GS, they're moving in from the south side to the east of Pachinki over Potato Hill, but they've got Gen.G ahead of them, and they've got APG behind them, Blank. So a difficult hilltop to hold in that sort of scenario.
APG rotating far on the south. I think for APG they could remain like in transit for quite a while. They could even wait until stage 3 before they really make a big move, because then you can make a big swing. And I think at this point in time where you're on the outside of the circle anyway, it's unlikely you're finding a strong position in the circle at this point, where, like we said before, there's a massive amount of area that's cut out in this zone. And so many squads have already picked basically the map clean of pole positions. Alter Ego, though, I don't mind their spot on the south side of Yaz Fields. It'll keep them alive for quite some time. For them, it is a case of trying to catch up now. With Gen.G hitting second place, 65 points, it has been a tremendous and speedy approach towards the top side of the table.
I mean, it just goes to show you the volatility in general that we've been talking about, right? It has allowed them to do this, right? Because of what APG did yesterday, because there was this very, very flexible tables, Gen.G have been able to slingshot themselves up. That will start to happen less and less as we isolate in. A big shift out to the west, though. Let's talk about this, because we're going back to school. We're going back to apartments, the hills to the south, the position that Wolves had taken control of early on the east of Roshok. That's going to be really valuable for them as well. We're moving away from those Yaz Fields too.
Yeah, I think for Falcons, this is like kind of their time, right? It was interesting because I think yesterday Junior was saying on the broadcast from the Indo scene that honestly, the fact of the matter was that Falcons don't really know how to play from Pachinki in terms of those initial rotates. And I sort of agree with him. I think that because they are so center, sometimes they kind of flub the initial rotate from that position. So it's always interesting to get the opinions from the other broadcast talent. I don't understand where they're coming from, what they think, and especially for us who've watched Falcons for quite a while, John. You know, we cover their region as well. It's nice to have some outside input.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to have a fresh set of eyes. Nico, not feeling super fresh though himself, as Papara Supermassive lose one to the Gen.G roll down as they continue to make their approach towards this next circle from Potato Hill. Of course, they're already in it from that south side, but maybe they want to establish themselves more. With APG breathing down their neck, can't blame them. Reject hoping to have a little bit better of a rotational set than last match. With Alter Ego right there, that's going to be very tricky.
Let's get a move on, but already a lot of shots raining down on them. We'll just have to get away. No divine intervention this game. We'll just have to send off into the distance. There's D+ down towards the southeast side, though. I think the main feature here is that barren land over towards the eastern side of apartments and school, where a lot of teams are going to kind of struggle to play in. If this continues to go dead center, you sort of have that one singular tiny compound towards the middle of the map here, which is going to become a very, very useful position. Right now, it's kind of rubbish. It's kind of rubbish. Not many teams want to play it, but if we do keep heading center, you will see teams start to fight over that position, and specifically on the eastern side of apartments. A lot of times with those circles, you can see 2 or 3 teams playing apartments towards the end game.
That's potential to get a little bit chock-a-block in that zone. We'll see where the next circle's going, though, because we're about 10 seconds away from finding out. D+, holding out on the southeast side. Still fending off people in the area. And that is a bold flex out from Satan there for Gen G. He's just going to get punished, and it's not going to be happy. A north side shift here, though, Blank, and the Wolves just keep getting happier. OG as well on the north side. Team Secret, who felt like maybe they'd had to move probably about in the last 3 circles. Again, can go a little bit slower, but their approach is still very much difficult.
Supermassive making a quick rotate out. That's from the south side, trying to pass by Gen G. And currently under the purview of GS. Now, for the Falcons, they do have a fairly decent position right now, yeah, but I think they need to regroup. I think they absolutely need to regroup. This is a big old test for Narvalo here. Cannot quite find the second. Koa needs to be successful on this one.
Oh, does not connect with any of those shotgun shells. And Papra Supermassive, they sweep the leg. The Falcons stayed split too long, and Papra Supermassive all too happy to add those points to their tally. Falcons just disappointing on their performance here. A nade in for Alter Ego, who have crashed into this compound that generally is sort of nigh on unassailable. They haven't got a flush just yet, but Krypton, we're going to keep the nades rolling. Won't quite connect on this one, and the res is starting to come through now. Rosemary breaching forward, Snape as well. AKOP on the door, they drop the smokes, trying to play a little bit of funny business as WizGod stands back up, but an immediate re-knock on his teammate. Alva gets the nade onto the off angle too. WizGod to the upstairs. AKOP looking to try and stay alive, but they are just falling. Alter Ego handling every fight as they come, and then now it's just WizGod. A nade on the inside, and he's blasted back by Rosemary's shot to the feet, making him dance.
Great clear from Alter Ego there. I'm still sort of reeling from this, you know. I don't understand why there's not an immediate regroup coming through from the Falcons over towards L block, or regrouping with the 2 players on the northeast side. In my opinion, regrouping on the northeast side would have been a way better scenario to go for. There's very minimal areas to play here. You know that everyone is gonna want a little bit of L block. It's just... It's greedy, but I don't even think it's greedy from Falcons. I think it's just slow, honestly. I think that they're slow to figure out what they want to do next. They don't regroup in time. And by the time they're thinking, maybe we should get back as a 4-man, they're already assailed by other teams. So, yeah, the decision-making needs to be quicker there. Tiamba up against Team Secret. But just one player in A-King left alive. Good shots from him with the S12, but has to reload.
Popped off though, and now it's a 1 versus 1. Low HP, sure. Loki dancing around the door frame here in a 1v1 as the fight in the middle actually pop it off as well. You can see the picture-in-picture. That's GS crashing in. Gen G have been dismantled in the meantime. Papra Supermassive, they've been there for a while. It's no longer Gen G. It is just that 2-team fight. Papra Supermassive looking to hold off their compound against GS, who very successfully crash in there.
Nice.
The 1v1 does conclude though.
Tiamba A-King with the 1v3. That's crazy. But Alter Ego now yet again give him another marker, another challenge to solve. And I think it's very unlikely he gets out of this one alive. Alter Ego will pick up this position for themselves. But well played, A-King versus Team Secret. And Team Secret's having a horrible time of it currently in 16th place. Papra Supermassive right now versus GS. DS3 will find one up the stairs.
They already have done a lot of damage to Papra Supermassive. We saw them crash into the remnants of Gen G. We've seen them now take on the majority of Papra Supermassive, but both Jafar and Icon are down. Shots come through actually from Redox from the Falcons. Even as 2, they do still have a very solid central position. And now, oh my goodness me, in a circle. They've just careened into the side that GS took earlier. Maybe they can keep this one going. They have got the 3 players up and in to fight against GS's 3, with Jafar going down to the flush.
For Inner Circle, it's been a long and tumultuous journey to this position, but I think this is the right time to try and assault over towards L block. You get to the point where, honestly, you see a lot of fights have concluded over here. Finally, things start to die down, and as you hear those final shots ring out, that's when you look to send in. I think it's a smart maneuver from IC. They just need to make sure they conclude this fight for themselves, and I don't think there'll be any more players looking to join in on this one. So it is a great time to try and finish off. IQ moving up with the hovercraft. And now you do share a little bit. D3S on the upstairs building. Double nades in. Does find ESO.
Ooh, and now Phylax on the hunt. That's a dangerous place to be in the sight lines, but there's a good hold on the staircase for the first. Hops over, gets the flush, immediately is traded off, but in a circle, lose another player here. And I wonder if they're aware of Kamikaze on the outside. I don't think they necessarily are. They may have not spotted that one across the way. They rocked up to the fight a little bit later, so maybe Kamikaze allowed to stay alive a little bit longer. As APG struggle on the hilltop, I say struggle, not really. Divine was the last to stand for Reject, and he will fall. That res should be okay. Will Goat take an angle to it, though? Or are they going to be more preoccupied getting towards that Falcon duo?
Yeah, Doc is obsessed with running players over. Honestly, it's happened, I think, 4 times now. I think he's definitely got the highest amount of vehicle eliminations in the entire game. He's trying to set a little bit of a record or something. Killer Joe underneath. APG with the 4 players they have playing on this ridge side, then get rid of Go. They have a much better time of it. Though APG actually do struggle versus Go. Go has surprisingly good firepower in the 4v4. Already, though, Rosemary's making things very hard on this angle over towards the north side. Takes down Reefus. And they're penned in. Falak as well on this off angle. APG suffering. And once again, do you know why, John? It is because they do not respect sightlines.
It's the Rosemary sightline, you're right, over towards Falak as well. That really has stalled them in this fight, and now it should be easy pickings for Goat to just roll on over. They fall, and they have sort of met their mark of getting about 5 points average per match today so far. They have got a couple on board, maybe a little bit shorter than they would have liked. But now it's the time for Goat to move as the circle pops. We're going north. I mean, this is Alter Ego's time, right? This is their chance to really go for something big here. Push themselves up to maybe even challenge towards that top spot, right? With APG going down on 99, they could get pretty close on this match.
Well, they could. But again, I'm seeing 4 players split across the entirety of the north side. It's worrying. I think it's one of the few times where actually it's pretty good. It does work. There's a lot of positions to play from. Still, they're just scared. You know, I would like a slight regroup towards the end game. God, that's frustrating having to expend another nade there. That should do the trick. Snake will take him down. Curious to see how many nades have still got left. I mean, 3 on Rosemary, so the stocks are still pretty high. 11 elims on the game on an angle is very, very nice. It's just the amount of times they've been in this situation. I feel like Alter Ego could be on a very similar scoreline to APG if they had just regrouped a little earlier in a couple of these matches.
Kamikaze. He sacrifices a lot of his health bar, but he takes the hovercraft that was delivered earlier by Inner Circle. He's going to pop it through, see where he can get a big block in the way of gunfire as well. So he's going to rock forward. He's just going to play behind it. The nades from IC going to immediately try and take this thing out, go a little bit longer. Kamikaze needs to stay. No, he's not going to do it. Falak lands the nade. Needed more health, needed more healing. A nice idea, but I feel like maybe the buggy not in the blue zone would have been a little bit better.
I mean, you want the maneuverable cover, right? At this stage of the game, having that is great, but in comes Go over towards Falcons, the 2 final players remaining. If they're able to get this 2v4, you know, it's a 4th place. That's actually fairly good in terms of a salvage, but it's not looking likely.
They've taken down one already. Last player for the Falcons. No, last player for the Falcons gone. They will be eliminated in 5th place, but Wolves are actually chiming in. This is a really difficult compound to play with, Blank, but 2 knocks already found towards Go. That is huge. What a pickup. And Wolves are going to storm down the gates. Alter Ego lining up on the north side. All too happy to let this one go through, but always caught in the corner. Doran is just going to get caught by surprise there for the Wolves, and that's going to be nasty.
The Wolves down to 1 player, by the way. And honestly, takes a lot of damage. The 2v4 is real. And Wix and Kraken's able to finish it off. horrible sneaky maneuver. The assassin in the corner. It does work out though. And Alter Ego on their lineup. Again, I think for the Wolves though, honestly, that was the right time. That was the good call. Is that you want the high ground compound with the walls surrounding it. You hear the third party pop off. And I think you just have to say to yourself, we got to go there. We have to go. So well played to Wolves. Sadly doesn't work out. I think GOAT just has some extremely good clutch potential in these engagements. IC versus Alter Ego, who are currently very split. I think that they do have the manpower to make this work though, with only 2 teams with 2 players on side. Not if Snape goes down though.
He's just about staying alive. Rosemary is immediately there just in case. I don't think, yeah, there's only 2 nades left on side for Inner Circle. Wakes up on the rooftop, able to find the first. The nade from Rosemary steals the Elim away. It's not going to go into the GOAT bank. And now Phalanx left alone. And he will be no more. Rosemary lands another nade. And the 8 nades on side for Alter Ego. The 4 players alive. The 19 smokes. I mean, for GOAT, this is a really, really difficult task.
Okay, I'm actually okay with this. They're playing a little slower, right? And they're also playing... They're playing a little bit slower. They're playing 2 and 2, making sure that one player is always alive to pick up the other. So there definitely is some considerations to what occurred yesterday. Rosemary on the roof.
Oh, he's immediately catapulted himself up there. I mean, you said they wanted to play it slow. They're changing it. The denial comes on through. All right, okay, go take the points away from Alter Ego's tally. They don't want them to challenge for that first place. But I think that's what, like a 21, 22, maybe 23-point game for Alter Ego. That's going to put them up in the high 80s blank. They're going to be having a good time of things that will put them in the top 3. The question is, how close to APG can they continue to get?
I'm so confused by the denial coming through. It's kind of BM, if I'm honest. An international like this. I mean, also, if you just get 1 nade or so, get it maybe a double. They already took the 2v4 versus Wolves. What's to say they can't do it again versus Alter Ego? Somewhat confusing, but yeah, there you go. But for Alter Ego, I think there was marginal improvement, right? In terms of the way they played out those final moments. There was a lot of one-man splits before yesterday. This time around, there was a lot more consideration to having someone as a backup to Rez, if needs be, who was outside of sightlines. So very well done.
Yeah, excellent stuff for Alter Ego to close that one down. They'll find the chicken dinner, put themselves in a better spot. Let's head to the analyst desk.
And that is the first chicken dinner from an Indonesian team in the PUBG Mobile Global Championships. And man, could it not have happened at a better time. First off, we got to talk about this buggy play from Rosemary, Max, man. Oh my gosh. He ends up launching himself onto the roof. GOAT heard him on there, and they were like, you know what? Let's get out of this game. Let's go to match number 2. Let's see it.
Calculation happening. Yes. Trajectory on point. Oh no, slow down. Okay, wait. Now trajectory on point. Come back.
And
perfect landing. And GOAT just like, that was too good. Nay, that was self now. I can't believe they denied. They didn't even try, Hardukes, to take the 2v4. Like, no, that was too cool. We surrender.
Too cool, dude. Oh my goodness. That is ridiculous. And look at these points, these stats. I don't know. That was insane, Nepturo.
It was a masterclass of how to control the zone. I love that so much from AE, and able to back it up with so many eliminations, right? I love how methodical they were in every single stage of that end fight, right? Because they were looking towards the whole big thing with GOAT and Wolves and all of that, and then they also knew IC was on their side. They decided, no, we're going to leave that fight alone. We're going to go to IC, get rid of them, then we can decide what we're going to do from there. It was really, really nicely played from them.
Yeah, and you know what? They got this chicken dinner, right? And it all started with a push onto OG. OG get gifted the circle there in such a dominant position. And what would have happened if OG ended up winning that fight with AE, right? I mean, they could have possibly got a lot of points. What do you think about that defense from OG in that play, Niptura?
I'm so annoyed because that zone, the way that zone shifted and their position in it played right into their hand. That's exactly what they've been waiting for the entire gauntlet stage. They wanted that big split on the north side, on the edge, open ground, love it. But they just sat there. They were like, oh, we got the zone, and didn't do a thing about it. They didn't try at all. And so AE were just able to run them over, run them down. I mean, if OG wanted to give them the compound and, you know, regroup to the hills, I'd have been fine with that because at least they're playing the game. But for some reason, they just crumbled, and it's so unfortunate because they could have won with this. If they had played like Alter Ego, they would have won their first game.
I mean, you can see at the end of this game then in the recaps, after that fight was won against Orangutan, Alter Ego just start completely controlling the entirety of this circle. There's not much that can really happen, though. Wolves and GOAT fight. We saw that Hodgix at one point, they didn't check the bush angle behind the wall. It was Twix, he was hiding in the shadows, and that completely destroys the push of Wolves, despite it being, I think, timing-wise, perfect. It was so well timed out from Wolves, but unfortunately didn't quite work out as we go through the game recaps. And I just want everyone to pay attention to the boys of Inner Circle. They dropped Zaki. Apparently, I didn't even see. Okay, that's an interesting one. They dropped Zaki on early rotation. They send it over to Heaven to the eastern side on a big, wide northern rotation, which I do like. They go there on phase 2, I do believe. Here, they snatch away that position out of the hands of Alter Ego. Boom. There you go. Right into Heaven. And then the circle just hates Inner Circle. It's like, oh, we go to the western side. Inner Circle, very smart. Wide southern rotation all around, next to Pachinki, into school. Good entry point to the west, eastern shift. I mean, there's a certain point where just the RNG is not working in your favor. And in this case, Inner Circle were done dirty by the zone.
Oh my gosh, they were I feel like we need some of that meme music, right? While they're trying to chase that circle, because it was brutal. But yeah, you just saw right there, Alter Ego. Once they got that push on OG, they just dominated the zone, Nepturo.
They really, really did. I love the split that we saw coming out from them, just making sure that no angle, no stone was left unturned. And the result is 23 points. I mean, far ahead of even GOAT, who had a great game today in this Erangel, right? 13 points, 10-point difference just because of the control they were able to grab. And it's just crazy how one team can come out and dominate the whole thing, because if you look down the leaderboards of these stats, not bad points, right? 11 for IC, Wolves getting 7 points. I mean, that's a pretty average game, but for AE to come out and just get 23, now the rest of them are like, oh, you got single digit, you know, points. That's kind of bad. No, it's not. AE just too good.
Yeah, we actually seen some good points for some bottom squads. I mean, Tiamba, Team Falcons getting a few points here and there, trying to just leaving the bottom 5 is already a win in itself. If you can go even higher, if you can try and contest top 3 at the end of today or in tomorrow's 6 matches, even better. But right now, you just want to be out of that bottom danger zone in the bottom 5. As the MVP of the game is Alva, even though I would have to say it's all Alva's the MVP or the Buggy's the MVP with Rosemary.
Yeah.
Those Buggy plays were clean.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen a team just nade themselves because of how sick that Buggy play was, right? Some person driving. That's how you know it was just sweet, sweet victory there. By the way, I do want to talk about that point you talked about earlier, Maxman, right? With the Wolves, right? When they did that push onto GOAT. As soon as I saw that push, I wish you guys could have heard, because I was screaming. I was like, check that corner. There's always a person in that corner. And they got taken out from there. But look, Alter Ego now go into second place. Gen.G go down to 4th place. And one team I definitely got to talk about here, Neptura, right, is 9Z. They have gone all the way down to 7th from 3rd.
That is a crazy stat. They had a really strong day yesterday, fairly quiet compared to maybe, you know, the big games of APG and IC and all of those folks. But 9Z were able to be so consistent. 20 placement points, 30 eliminations. That's exactly what you want to see when it comes to those points. But today, they've just struggled so much. I think in this last game, they got 0 points. So now, especially as we start shifting into the halfway point of Group Green, right? That is not the time to be slowing down, Jukes. Not at all. They need to now step up in these next 2 Erangel games. They got to bring it all because they are in danger of losing it.
And I'm still waiting for that Papara Supermassive Blaze win. We